here's the thing. I really, really wanted to like this album, but I feel a little like the Chainsmokers let me down. Don't let me, don't let me, don't let me down. And that pun was definitely intended. Chainsmokers released a new album today. I've only heard 2 of these songs on this album so far, so that's exciting. Definitely one of my favorite up and coming electronic music artists. Memories Do Not Open. Oh, I am so ready to listen to this album. I think I want to try cover one of these songs after I've listened to it. I might have to pick one, but I don't know. Leave a comment below. What song do you reckon I should cover? Okay, I'm gonna go get some work done. But when I come back, album listening party, yeah! So last night I listened to Chainsmokers' album, Memories Do Not Open, for the first time. I'm gonna give it another listen now while I change these strings, but I don't know. I'm not entirely sure how I feel about this album. My initial impression, I was expecting a little more, but you know, I like to listen to an album a good 2 or 3 times before I make a decision. So I'm gonna do that while I change these strings, and then we'll see how I feel about it. Well, this is day 3. I've listened to the album 3 times now. My first listen, I was like, yeah, this is cool. Second listen was in the background while I was changing some strings. And the third listen, I listened critically, I listened closely. And I wasn't that pumped about it, really. I made some notes. There was a lot in this album that I didn't expect sound-wise. Like I've always said that the Chainsmokers have a really distinctive sound, which I thought set them apart a lot in today's pop scene. And there's definitely still that sound in this album, but I feel like it strayed away from it a little bit. There were some other sounds, which isn't a bad thing. On my first listen I was like, oh, wasn't expecting that. The third time I listened to it, I found myself noticing how repetitive it is. It's quite a repetitive album. It repeats itself a lot. In terms of inside each individual song, the lyrical hooks are usually like one short line or a couple of words. Don't say something just like this.
Just my type. It won't kill you. If I'm being honest, it's hard when you're young. Lost their life, no.
And they're repeated heaps. Like all the time. Half the song is basically just a repeated lyrical hook. It got a little boring. Now, there are definitely some cool bits in certain tracks that I really like. Instrumental breaks, synth hooks. There are cool moments. And on my first listen through the album, some of my favorite tracks were ones that included those cool moments. But after listening to it a second and a third time especially, the tracks that I thought had cool moments, I still think they have cool moments, but I didn't think they were such strong songs. And my favorite songs ended up being tracks that didn't grab me the first time for having cool moments. I also noticed that a lot of the tracks on this album have very similar melodies. I began to notice a formula. I think basically every Chainsmokers song I've listened to, or at least 90% of them, use this formula, but I'll come back to that later. So I listened to the album 3 times, and then I went back through and scrubbed through each track real quick, just so I could refresh my mind, get a sense of what the songs sounded like again. And I noticed something. When I was scrubbing through the tracks, click and then I'd click through. I spilled my coffee. So I'd be clicking through these tracks, and I noticed that there were only like 2 different kind of parts or sounds in a song. usually. There was the hook, and then there was the rest of it. Usually when I listen to a song, you know, there's the hook, there's the chorus, there's like a verse, maybe the second verse sounds a bit different, there's a bridge, maybe there's an instrumental. It all ties together, but there's variation. As I was clicking through these Chainsmokers songs, I heard the verse, cool, yep, still verse. Okay, definitely the hook, verse, hook, end. Previously, some of my favorite Chainsmokers songs, like Roses, which I've listened to like 200 times, and Closer, which got really massive and played way too many times on the radio, so I kind of didn't listen to it for a while, but I still think it's a great track. These songs have more variation musically, I think, and when you scrub through it, you're not landing on the same part of the song again and again and again. Alright, let's blitz through the track list. I'm gonna make a few points. First song is called The One. It's got some really cool vocal sampler action. Reminds me of a One Republic track that was off one of their... What was that track called? Say, brackets, All I Need. And that's the track. Yeah, so The One has this real cool vocal sampler action, and this was one of my favorite tracks. The first listen I was like, oh, that's cool. But then when I listened to this track on like the second and third time, it's quite a short track, it's under 3 minutes, and I felt like it sounded more like an intro to the album than like a track on its own. It kind of just like builds and then stops, and then the album can... I'm calling this the intro track. Second track was Break Up Every Night, which is very much a departure from the Chainsmokers sound. This is one of the ones that I wasn't like a super fan of when I heard it the first time. I was like, oh, was not expecting that. This song, it really reminded me of something else, and I couldn't place it for the longest time, and then I remembered. This track reminds me of 21 Pilots. I can't remember which song exactly, but I feel like it's something 21 Pilots would make. Kind of vibe, same kind of vibe. Bloodstream, Ed Sheeran's got a track called Bloodstream. I don't think this sounds like Ed Sheeran. Yeah, this track, I felt like this track was a watered down version of their style. I think the Chainsmokers have a really distinctive style, especially with the way they do drops and the way they do their hooks. And something just like this is a great example of that. Bloodstream just felt like a watered down version of what I would consider a good Chainsmokers song. Don't Say, featuring Emily Warren. I'm a big fan of Emily Warren's vocals ever since I heard her on the song Capsize by Friendship. Great track. So I'm a big fan of Emily Warren's vocals. I think they make the song. I wrote down that I think Don't Say has a cool drop, but then there's this weird like behind the scenes bit at the end that's just kind of tacked on. I don't know why. I don't feel like it adds anything, and I wish they'd left it out. Something Just Like This is awesome. I think it's one of the strongest songs on the album. I think it's very distinctively Chainsmokers. Great drop, great melody, solid song. My Type, featuring Emily Warren. When she sings Just My Type, which is the vocal hook for this song, the stereo field opens up, and I feel like the vocals kind of blend with the synths doing the drop in a very cool way. I like that. Or at least I thought I liked that. And I listened to it again and I was like, I don't know if I like that. I like it theoretically, I just don't know if I like the way it was executed. I'm on the fence with that one at this point. It Won't Kill Ya, featuring Luann. So when this song started out, her voice and the arrangement reminded me a lot of Ellie Goulding. Then this track has this massive like trap drop, which I was not expecting. It's cool, I like it, but I'm not sure how well it fits with the rest of the song. Don't Let Me Down, which is a previous Chainsmokers song, that has a trap drop, but I feel like it fits better. This song, I'm not sure how well the trap drop fits. And you know how I mentioned that when I scrubbed through the tracks, it was like the hook and the rest of it? When I scrubbed through this track, intentionally avoiding the drop, what I heard was nothing that suggested that it would have a trap drop in it. Paris, personally, I'm not a great fan of the track, but I think it's a great track. Does that make sense? Honest, I don't feel like it took me anywhere. It was like verse, hook, done. Bland. Wake Up Alone. This song also has trap elements. Yeah, again, I didn't feel like there was continuity through the song in the sense that the drop is like trap and the rest of it isn't. Ooh. I hate the intro sound on this track. Oh my gosh. Not a fan at all. I feel like it's out of place. The second verse references this sound, but it's not in the drop or the other sections. And it's this song also has another weird outro bit, which I wish they just left off. I don't think it really adds anything or gives any context to the track. Young, love the drop. It's got a cool gritty bass in it and an awesome bridge with vocoder vibes. This track, I think the chorus melody and the vibe is similar to the other track, Closer. I love the way they link the vocoder in with, I think this song fits really well together, big fan. Then the final track on the album is called Last Day Alive. Starts out with this epic kind of like vocal harmony situation, those Jacob Collier vibes. It's also got a great outro. And I felt this track had a more like rock feel than dance/electronic, which is what this album is classified as. So overall, I'm a little disappointed with this album. I think it's an alright album, and I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10. I want to talk about Roses and their Collage EP. Roses, I think, is a much stronger song. I absolutely love the drop in Roses. I think it's amazing. I also think it has better instrumentation and arrangement than Memories Do Not Open. Kinda wish I hadn't opened it. The Collage EP that they released sometime has much stronger songs. I think they're more distinctively Chainsmokers. I think they also follow like the same formula and format that I reckon is a Chainsmokers song after listening to so many of them now. But I think they do it better. I feel like this Memories Do Not Open album was rushed. I feel like they had to just throw some songs together for an album, and I don't think they put their best foot forward with those tracks. Writing like the Chainsmokers 101. Chainsmoking 101. How to write like the Chainsmokers. First of all, you need a simple melodic idea that's basically looped throughout the whole song.
So the guitar notes are pretty simple, as you can hear in the song. It's just a couple of notes, but it's...
Once you've got that, you write a verse, then a chorus, which is usually just a single lyrical line that's repeated way too much. Then you have some kind of chord-based instrumental drop that's very rhythmic and doesn't move too much, but is catchy. And then you repeat that. You have the same verse, the same chorus, and the same hook, and then you end. I still think the Chainsmokers are great. I'm just a little disappointed with this album. I don't think their style came through as much as I would have liked. They've got some different sounding songs on it, which is fine. I don't want every song to sound like Roses or Closer, but there wasn't the musical or the lyrical interest throughout the whole album to make me actually really want to listen to it again. I'd go back and listen to the Collage EP. I mean, I have. I'd go listen to Roses again. To be honest, I don't actually know if I'm gonna go listen to this Chainsmokers album again. So the Chainsmokers have got this formula. Now my favorite songs on this album are the ones that have variation inside of this formula. The formula's still there, but it's not like A, B, A, B. It's like A, B, A in a slightly different font, B, italicized. It's a little different, you know, there's some variation. It keeps you engaged. I'm optimistic about the next album. I'm looking forward to it. I hope it's good. I'm just concerned. I thought the Chainsmokers could establish themselves as like a really kind of top, long-lasting electronic duo. After hearing this album, I don't know if they can. Well, that was my thoughts on Memories Do Not Open. I'd be really, really interested to hear what you think about the album. Did you enjoy it? Do you agree with my thoughts? If not, what are your thoughts? Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, let me know what I should listen to next, and I'll catch you guys next week.